What's poppin', guys? This is House Cat MMA, and right now I'm going to be going over what happened at UFC Fight Night, Brandon Royval versus Manel Kate. But before I get into all that, if you would just take a second to like and subscribe, that'll be the coolest thing you've done at least this hour. Now, the curtain jerker was Jamie Lynn Horth, not to be confused with Jamie Lynn Spears. Jamie Lynn Horth was not the star of Zoe 101, if you were at all confused about that. Versus Teresa Bleda. I called Bleda to win this fight. But pretty much what happened was Bleda was going for a takedown early, kind of had Horth against the cage, but once they separated, Horth caught Bleda and put her away around 2 minutes into the first round. Now we got Alan Fry versus Guilherme Pat. Fry really wanted the fight on the ground, but it just didn't work out. You could tell Fry did some good high school wrestling, but Pat was just so much faster and was beating the dog shit out of Fry. Fry kept him against the cage for a long time, but Fry was fucked up by the end of that fight. But Fry is pretty tough for taking that beating. Now we got Melissa Croden versus Luana Santos. Luana Santos, I'm kind of a fan of her. As of like 10, 15 minutes ago. Because like I've been known she's a pretty tough gal, but just her upper body takedowns are so beautiful, and that's what she was getting Croden with the whole fight. And I like people who do good upper body takedowns because back when I wrestled in high school, I was an upper body takedown guy. So I like fighters that I can relate to, which is why I almost always root for overweight fighters. So Luana Santos got the decision. She just kept on getting her upper body shit, like headlocks or bear hugs to outside trips and shit like that. So good on Santos getting that win. Now we got Sean Sheriff versus Steven Asplin. Steven Asplin, the beatdown he put on Sheriff was borderline not Christian. Sheriff did crack Asplin a couple of times in the fight, maybe 4 to 6 times, but it was Asplin just kind of going in there with like a more powerful Diaz brother, just kind of getting him with like 70% power punches and just punches and bunches. And I like Asplin. He is obviously an ex-fat guy. In the post-fight interview, he said there was a point in time where he weighed 525 pounds, and he didn't even have to say that because to look at him, you can tell he used to be a fat guy. And plus, he's all he's all stitched up right here from where he had surgery to get skin removed. But I liked his message. I liked how he fought. I like to see him versus Guilherme Pat. That'd be pretty tight. I don't know how well Asplin is going to do against top 15 guys, but I'd like to see it. I'd like to see Asplin be a top 15 heavyweight. I'm a fan of Asplin. Now we got Neil Magny versus Yaroslav Marmosov. Yaroslav took Magny down and submitted him. And it's like I always say, if you can take Neil Magny down and submit him, that means you are not a pussy. You're not a pussy if you can do shit like that. I couldn't do it. And I'm not even a pussy. And now you got Joe Anderson Brito versus Isaac Thompson. The question should be what didn't happen in this fight. Thompson caught a kick and took Brito down early. Then like the whole first round, they were kind of flip-flopping positions. There was a point in time where Brito slammed Thompson on his head, and Thompson popped up like he's fucking Hodor. And it was just they flip-flopped the whole first round. They did a little bit of flip-flopping in the second, but Brito went for a Darce in the second, and then they flopped again, and then they flipped. But toward the last couple of minutes of the second round is Brito having dominant position. And then the third round, pretty much the whole time, Brito had dominant position, so he got the decision win. Amanda Lemos versus Jillian Robertson. That fight did not happen. That bout got scrapped because Amanda Lemos was having some sort of medical issue. What's up? She's aight. Now we got King Green versus Lance Gibson Jr., not to be confused with Mel Gibson, in case you're wondering if that feller from fucking Braveheart was fighting on this card. I promise you he wasn't. This is a whole different Gibson. No relation, even. Lance Gibson did well. He got some takedowns on Green, but Green just hit him more. I think Green might have been watching Diaz brother highlights in the back, because he was bowing up on Gibson the whole time and talking shit. It's like, that kind of thing. But it just looks better when Green does it, because Green's above average when it comes to muscle tone. So it's kind of cool to see a muscular guy do that for once. And Green got the win. I like seeing men in their late 30s get wins, and Green did just that. And Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Marcus Buchecha. For some reason, I was really wanting Kennedy to win this fight. And he was fucking Buchecha up on the feet, but Buchecha is so crafty. He's very explosive. He can take you down if he needs to, and he's crafty as fuck on the ground. But he was getting fucked up pretty bad on the feet. And then pretty much what kind of happened was, in the second round, Buchecha got Kennedy on the ground, mounted him, and beat the fuck out of him for the better part of a minute and a half. And there's a point in time in the second round where Kennedy poked the piss out of Buchecha's eye, and since they're really cracking down on eye pokes these days, Herb took a point. So since Buchecha won the second round and Kennedy was docked a point, that was a 10-8. And then in the third round, for a pretty long time, Buchecha had Kennedy's back, but with no hooks in. But Buchecha did no damage, and Kennedy did all the damage from non-dominant position. So they gave Kennedy the third round. And plus, Buchecha was really fucked up after that fight, but it was a draw. But really 29-28 for Kennedy. But since a point was taken, it's a draw. But Kennedy won that fight, even though officially he did not, but he won that fight. Then Melquizael Costa versus Morgan Charrier. Costa just kind of went out there and head kicked Morgan and knocked him the fuck out. I mean, nothing really happened. They were trading a little bit, but nothing really of note. And Costa just went out there and kind of knocked him the fuck out. Now we got Cesar Almeida versus Cesar Olek Jacek. Almeida had the advantage on the feet. He did well on the feet, but I didn't realize Cesar was wrestled like that. He pretty much wrestle fucked Costa on the ground at one point. Not Costa, Almeida. He pretty much wrestle fucked Almeida, and there was a point in time where Cesar elbowed Cesar in the wiener. And that was kind of funny. But yeah, good win for Cesar. I'm interested to see how well he does. Now we got Giga Chikadze versus Kevin Vallejos. Much the same as the Costa Charrier fight. Vallejos just kind of went out there and knocked Giga the fuck out. Giga did catch him with some body kicks that Kevin didn't like, but yeah, Kevin just knocked Giga. I wonder what's happened to Giga Chikadze. Was it his first 7 fights in the UFC were just good matchups for him, or maybe he's lost a step? I don't know, but there was a point in time, because Giga knocked out Edson Barboza some years ago, for fuck's sake, and now he's 1-4 in his last 5. I wonder what's happened. Now I got Brandon Royval versus Manel Cape. They were trading a little bit in the first round. At one point, Royval got a body kick on Cape that you could probably hear from 130 feet out. It was loud as fuck. But ultimately, man, Cape just knocked Brandon Royval out 3 minutes and some kind of seconds into this first round. So now there's a new sheriff in town at flyweight. So right now Van's champ and Pantoja is working with one arm, and Tatsuro Taira is doing well. So I wonder if you have Cape and Tatsuro Taira go at it, or you just give Taira the title shot, or what you do. I say we give Cape the title shot against Van, because at the end of the day, nobody really cares about Tatsuro Taira. He thinks he's fucking that one guy that made his UFC debut against Kenny Florian. Wow, and Nick Diaz, Gogo plotted him. I can't remember. Takanori Gomi. Tatsuro Taira thinks he's Takanori Gomi, and he's not Takanori Gomi, and just nobody cares. But I like to hear what Cape has to say. I mean, you never know what is going to come out of that motherfucker's mouth. Cape thinks he's Joe C. 3'9" with a 10-foot dick, high-ass voice like Aaron Neville, and he's down with the devil, and he likes to party. He likes to rock the fucking party. That's what Cape likes to do, and I want to see him fight Joshua Van at some point in the late spring, and I want to see Cape become the flyweight champion of the UFC. That'd be really tight. That would save, not that the 125-pound weight division needs saved, but that will make the 125-pound division exciting for the first time in history. And 125 pounds in the UFC has a 13-and-a-half-year history. And I love Mighty Mouse, but you always knew what was going to come out of his mouth. He's always a cool, lovable guy. Manel Cape is not that. Manel Cape will fucking cuss you before he fucking looks at you. He'll call you things that you can't be calling people in any other organization except the UFC, because Dana White's a cool-ass motherfucker. He lets you say whatever the fuck you want. And Cape is just the man. Cape is my new favorite lighter weight class fighter. He is definitely my favorite 125 pounder, but he might be from 125 to 170. He might be my favorite fighter. So that's all I have on that. Just, if you feel like it, let me know in the comments what you thought of this video. Let me know in the comments any ideas you'd like me to cover. I'm at a point where I have 53 subscribers still, and 16 people I know and 37 people I do not know. So 37 people, I don't even know if you can fit 37 people into my apartment. So that's a substantial amount of people. So there's 37 people that may or may not give a fuck about what I have to say. So all I have on that, this is Housecat MMA. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and let me know in the comments any ideas that you might have for me. This is Housecat MMA, and I'll catch y'all later.